Are you ready for the chase now? Take it out, don't let it slow down. 'Cause this is different, this is patience. No, I'm never gonna waste it. Too much too soon, is it right now?
Well, hello. I just want to start off by saying thank you so much to everybody who asked questions on my Instagram on that post for an open Q&A. I haven't done one of these since the fall, so I knew that I really wanted to include this in my winter vlogging, because I've posted quite a few workout videos recently, and right now I'm in the process of learning the Y3T method wholeheartedly. So before I really show you guys a whole lot of that footage of training, I just really want to dive into it myself and fully understand it and be able to give you guys great quality feedback on that training methodology. Without further ado, I am going to go ahead and get into my Q&A. All right, so I have divided up my Q&A into 4 main topics: personal, training, competition or physique competing, and nutrition. So first I want to go ahead and start off with some of my favorites, which came from the personal category. At Sierra Rose Fit asked, what is your biggest stress reliever? And for me, honestly, one of the things that I practice the most is journaling and reading on my own. Right now I have been reading less on my own because I've been working through my text for my strength and conditioning certification. So with that exam coming up, I have been utilizing my reading time far less in the mornings. But typically my biggest stress reliever is to start off my day in a low stress environment. So I don't scroll through social media, I don't pick up my phone or check my email. I really try to 100% look at textual information. Then also winding down the end of my day without social media or without my phone in my hand as well. Typically, I like to spend the last hour of my evening with my husband if possible, and we typically like to watch TV shows. That to me is just kind of a mindless situation, and I just kind of get to relax. So some of our favorite TV shows right now are, we love This Is Us. It's a great heartwarming show on NBC. I pretty much cry in a good way. Sometimes it's just really some gut-wrenching topics that they discuss, but This Is Us is on NBC. It's great. We also watch, guilty pleasure is The Bachelor or The Bachelorette. Over the course of me getting older, I have had some connections with some people on those shows, so it just got me into watching it, and now I'm kind of addicted. We also love Empire and Power, and I'm trying to think. We watch Jimmy Fallon a lot. We don't really tend to watch a whole lot of live TV, so we're always kind of behind the mark there. But that's just a big stress reliever for us. Him and I both have a job that requires us to work pretty much a lot of hours of the day, intermittently, so that's just a big stress relief for us, is just to wind down with each other for about an hour every evening and watch a show. I guess it's Haha Olive and at Bodie0140 both asked in relation to how did you get your job at Lulu? So when my husband and I found out that we were gonna be moving, I knew we were moving to a city that had a Lululemon. I had been a purchaser of Lululemon as a trainer for a long time. I was an independently contracted trainer, so I often worked in people's homes and in independent studios, and so my uniform was very open. I could wear pretty much whatever I wanted to, but because I was going in people's homes and I was in a professional setting, I really wanted a tailored look. So when I found out we were moving here, I knew that I would not be doing a whole lot of in-person training, and I wouldn't be working with one-on-one clients that often. So I wanted something to kind of fill my human interaction time. And I thought it would be a great way to increase my creativity, which would be to work in the visual merchandising in the store. So I applied at 2 a.m. at night before we even moved. and I started the interview process before we even signed on our home. By the time we closed on our home, I was already employed with Lululemon. So it seemed like a long process, but like once the ball started rolling, it was just kind of one thing after another, and it just has been a perfect fit ever since. Also, if anybody is interested in applying for jobs there, it's super easy to go through the process. They pretty much have on their website a careers tab, and when you go into that careers tab, you can pick the cities, and it'll show you the available like job positions that are open within the company. Also, if you're willing to move, you can also look in various other cities and see if there's any job openings. Typically, most people start at the educator role, and then from there you can move within to a key leader, an assistant store manager. There's all kinds of various roles within the actual store, and of course there's corporate roles and other hubs around the area or around the United States that are in like shipment and different things like that. So all their careers are always listed on their website. You just apply through their forum, you upload your resume, upload a cover letter, your references, and you're set to go, and just kind of wait. They do respond back to you. Just give it time. At Meredith Lowe Flynn asked, why did you pierce your nose? So my husband probably asks the same question all the time. He begs me to take it out, but I don't. I pierced my nose my 18th birthday. I had always wanted a facial piercing of some kind in high school, and mama said no. So I said yes as soon as I went off to college. I think I had initially like maybe considered the eyebrow, because from when I had chickenpox, I have a scar like there already. So I was like, well, if I have a scar there already, like I might as well just, you know, put an eyebrow ring in it or something. And then like I got to thinking, I was like, I don't know. The nose ring's kind of cute. And like I always had like a little stud there for the longest time until I think I lost that stud somewhere along the way and I put a ring in. But yeah, I've had it since I was 18 years old. So we're going on 13 years now. So I rarely like remember that I have it, but I love that I have it, and it's just like part of me. And yeah. Meredith Lowe Flynn also asked, what is your dream job? And to be very honest, like I'm kind of living within my dream job. I've created my role, my company, my livelihood myself. I'm completely independent, almost entirely, other than, you know, my role with Lululemon. And I've done this all on my own. So if there's one thing I can say, I'm almost living within my dream job. I mean, obviously, you know, I'll be truthful in the sense that we all want to, you know, exponentially increase our value and increase our retirement, increase our savings. So, you know, financial stability is great, but like at the same time, like I'm in control of my livelihood, I'm in control of my life, I'm in control of my happiness within my workplace. So I would have to say I'm 100% living within my dream job as a coach, as an athlete, as, you know, an independent woman and entrepreneur. Susanna _, I'm assuming your last name, asked, would you ever consider doing a powerlifting meet? So I do hear that like it's really common right now that some physique athletes in their off season or in their improvement season are working within Olympic lifting, powerlifting, and weightlifting meets, and kind of becoming hybrid athletes in that sense. And I think that's awesome. I think that's a great way to be like a well-rounded like athlete in general, is to have like other facets that you're trying to dip into. And I get that. And for me, I love lifting heavy, and I love testing my bench. I love deadlifting, not a huge fan of squatting, but I'm getting better at it. And I'm not very experienced in Olympic lifting either, but as far as powerlifting goes, like I feel like I could, if I fully invested in that sport, that I could probably do a really good job with it, because my muscle capacity is there, and I think my strength could improve if I solely focused on those specific movements for powerlifting meet. But I do have like a really lofty goal, and I think sometimes you can spread yourself a little too thin, and you can try to take on more than your body really is capable of. And at this point, like my goal is so lofty that I need to improve my quality of my lean muscle tissue, and I need to improve myself internally so I can better prepare myself for a future contest prep towards the end of the year, potentially. So right now, I really wouldn't consider that. Again, I feel like it would just spread me a little thin mentally, and now I'm focused on stepping on stage sometime in the future, and that's just where I'm at right now. So no powerlifting meet in my future. That wraps up my personal section, and now we are gonna go into probably the most asked portion, which is in regards to my training. So what I'm gonna do is overlay some training footage of what I've currently been training, which is the Y3T method, while I answer a couple of these training questions. And you're gonna get to see a pretty, well, I don't know, because I'm about to go do it now, and then you're gonna see the footage. So I'm assuming this workout is gonna be pretty insane to watch, so I just kind of wanted to capture it myself, and I also just kind of wanted to share it with you guys for fun. So in regards to my training, Sierra Rose Fit asks, are you enjoying Y3T? I am 100% enjoying this method of training. My coach, Matt Jansen, he is coached by Neil Hill, and Neil Hill is the designer of the Y3T method. Now, in terms of training, and in terms of what kind of training is best, there are 1,000 ways to skin the cat, per se. There are great methodologies out there. There's great training tactics. As long as you focus on progressive overload, you are going to improve in training. So it's not that one training method is better than the other. It's not that, you know, load versus volume days are better than the Y3T method. But what the Y3T method does is it capitalizes on all three, you know, major training systems of the body. And right now, week 3 is pure hell. I will say I am under crazy amount of tension, under crazy amount of reps, and my load is less, but like my soreness is insane. I've never quite experienced this kind of training before at this high repetition and high volume capacity. So we are currently in a very sarcoplasmic hypertrophy phase, and if you've paid attention to my Instagram, you'll notice like it's insane. Like the amount of pump I feel throughout the training has been crazy. So I am thoroughly enjoying it. I would 100% recommend it for anybody who's looking to get some sort of structure to their training, and they're just looking to have like a really good time under the bar, because this training will open your eyes to what you're capable of and what you can really push for. So love it. Definitely a fan. Haha Olive asked, what is your training split and how often do you change it? So I actually hadn't changed my training split a whole lot over the course of 2 years. Prior to the Y3T, my coach had put me on a 6-day training split. It was 3 days on, 1 day of rest, and then 3 days on, 1 day of rest. And day 1 would have been a focus on chest and triceps. Day 2 was lower, focused on quads. Day 3 was back and biceps, rest day. Day 4 was shoulders. Day 5 was lower body focused, glutes and hams. And then we ended off with day 6 being a back and bicep day as well. And before I started with Y3T, I did talk with Matt. We are now like almost a triangle team here. I'm working with Neil, with Matt. Matt still does all my nutrition, but I'm utilizing Matt to kind of step me through the Y3T without having to necessarily always bug Neil either. So, and Matt knows exactly what my goal is, and he's very aware of my body after 2 years of working with me. But he gives me feedback based on when he knows I could push more, i.e. when I was sandbagging it. He said that it was probably great to go ahead and reduce to a 5-day training split, and he still wanted me to focus on the 3 days on, 1 day off. So that means that I end up starting day 1 at the end of the split, and it kind of throws off the schedule a little bit, but I've always learned that it doesn't matter what day of the week it is. You train what you need to train. Don't necessarily stick to the 7-day calendar in terms of planning your training cycle. I think that's where a lot of people often like miss the mark, is they stick so solidly to a calendar of 7 days when training can be a little bit more fluid than that, and training planning needs to be more fluid than that. Body by Jessica asked, what would you say to the girls who are afraid to venture away from the machines to the free weights? Girls, stop being afraid. Like, we are not built to put on a ton of muscle mass very quickly. And that is an unfortunate case, actually, because muscle mass, increasing your muscle mass increases your metabolic capacity. So ideally, the more muscle mass you hold, the more you will burn throughout your day resting. And so you should not be fearful of gaining muscle tissue. Please do not be afraid. Nobody is perfect when they first enter the free weight area or the machine area. And understand that half of those guys are probably not doing it correctly either. So please, 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 get over some of your inhibitions and fears and just go for it. Like, just do it. That's the best way I can explain to you. Some people start by just getting some free weights for their home and just practicing fundamental movements that they can do with dumbbells in their home. And other than, just getting in the gym and doing it, that would be like my ease into it. It's like maybe start within your home. But other than that, like, just go. Just start today. Start yesterday. Like, free weights and lifting and putting your body under resistance training is one of the most important forms of training you can do for your body over the long term. All right, guys, so the camera got hot and I got cold. So we had to do a little switching around. And the lighting now at my desk area is a little harsh, so we're moving to the comfy cozy chair. How often do you recommend to change up your split or training in general? This was a question asked by @Baron17, which I think I pretty much answered that in the question from Haha Olive, which was, what is your training split? How often do you change it? So I feel like I answered that. Again, like, I just want to reiterate the fact that there is no right or wrong way to lift weights or design programming per se. There are so many great ways out there to design your programming. So just understand that progressive overload and consistency is going to be key. Like, following a program to its entirety, to the end, and cycling back through, that is how you improve within training, is taking care of the variables at hand and getting better at them. @ChaosFitness86 asks, best tips for mamas who need tummy help post-babies. I'll be honest with you guys, not a mom. And I've never had to face that. And what your body undergoes is something I can't speak on. I've never had to undergo that myself. I have 100% trained clients postpartum who have recovered from, babies taking a toll on their tummy and the stretch marks and the abdominal wall separation. Like, that all can be corrected. However, again, it just takes consistency and time. There is no one method that's worked for one of my clients in general. Like, it's been kind of across the board. Typically, diet plays a huge aspect of that because it is fat deposit, and fat cells are reduced through caloric restriction and caloric deficits. So all of those things go into play. And like I said, I'm not going to speak on, what I think is best, because there are methods for each and every mom out there. And I haven't particularly gone through it. So again, I don't think that it's a great topic for me to discuss on with my audience, because I don't feel that there is one way to do it. There's plenty of ways that it can be done. It just takes consistency and time. And again, I haven't been through it. So you mamas out there, if you have, comment below, share with Chaos Fitness 86, follow her, give her some advice. Because like I said, all of my clients who have been, postpartum, it's all been different results through different strategies. And most of it had to do with consistent training and consistent caloric deficit to see, the abdominal wall come back to shape. And again, it has a lot to do with muscular changes through that region, through pregnancy as well. So next question, @Michelle Lindrop asked, what is your most important advice in relation to making improvements in the off season? 100% commitment to consistency and improving under your working loads and improving your intake. So increasing your strength over time and increasing your caloric intake over time is going to make for the strongest, most powerful improvement season you can have. The goal here is to basically backpedal out of the diet and to increase performance in the gym. If your performance is not increasing post, competition season, you need to speak on that with your coach, whoever's designing your program. You should feel that fire under you to lift, and to lift heavy, and to lift hard, and to lift with intensity. Those are those things that sometimes during a prep phase are lost and it decreases. And that's just the nature of a deficit and the nature of a prep and losing fat loss and basically changing over to strictly fat loss. you've caught my full days of eating and I don't skip a meal. It doesn't matter what time it is, I'm not going to skip a meal, because that sets me up for a lower caloric intake. And lower caloric intakes mean that it's gonna be harder for me come time to diet. So my goal is to increase my intake, be consistent with my intake, and basically create a comfortable state of homeostasis for my body to improve with internally. So externally, yes, fat gain is gonna happen, but you're also gonna gain a substantial amount of muscle tissue if you can create an environment where there is fat present to help support the muscle tissue growth. At Caitlin_fit23 asks, in terms of your training, how do you mix your load and volume days? So when I was doing strictly a load and volume programming, I did tend to alternate my days between load and volume, meaning if I had an upper body day that was focused on load, my lower body day would be focused on volume. It changed alternating throughout the week as well. So if one week quads were volume based, that following week quads were gonna be load based. So does that make sense? It did get kind of wonky with, you know, adding in shoulders, because I have a volume and load focus as well. And I did want to kind of manipulate drop sets and, you know, supersets within those as well, because those are all techniques to help improve and be consistent over time and improve your overall volume, even in a load sitting. So again, it's kind of, it's really up to the athlete and the coach and how much they can handle. But like I've talked before, a lot of females do need some deload weeks prior to ovulation. So that's something, if you're my females on this channel, you may want to consider looking at your training and structuring your load versus volume. Maybe you did all 1 week load and all 1 week volume, so you can do a lower weight on your pre-ovulation cycles. At Taylor Shaheen, I believe, maybe? I'm really terrible at names. And this is going to go out to the female intermediate non-competitor lifter. How to create a training program split, how many times per week per muscle group is ideal, and cardio. And so I really want to emphasize this notion that, you know, physique competitors have to train differently than the average intermediate person who loves lifting and who doesn't compete. They're really kind of not going to be that different. I mean, with a physique competitor, you do have to train areas that are underdeveloped or asymmetrical as far as your frame goes. In general, in terms of training, every person can benefit from structured training, regardless of whether you're a competitor or not. There isn't something special that we do that really nobody else should do in the gym. Your average person who loves lifting should have a structured program, should follow a consistent routine, should follow a consistent split, should follow, you know, a progressive overload. Like, all of those things should still be in play whether you're a competitor or not. Just if you love lifting and love being in the gym, these are principles that you should have as well. Just because we're physique athletes doesn't mean we're any different. Like I said, we're only there to pull up and balance the muscular imbalances so we appear more symmetrical on stage. And different divisions of our physique competitors, bikini, figure, we all have a different shape to obtain. So yes, we have to design our programming based on that, but by no means do I feel like what we would design for ourselves wouldn't translate over to your average person in the gym who is an intermediate lifter and loves to lift. So, I mean, as far as a training split, ideally you want to hit every muscle group within the week. If you're looking for, you know, hypertrophy over a specific area, you may want to target that twice per week, but you also want to allow for adequate recovery. How many times, you know, you would do cardio would be dependent on your goals. You know, cardio, you know, should be in there for cardiovascular health. You know, we need a fully functioning heart to lift heavy. And what's often forgotten is that cardio is so important to help increasing muscular endurance and muscular capacity. So a lot of people recommend you know, stripping cardio away if you're not looking for fat loss, but it can also improve your other aspects of training by keeping cardio in there. Like for me right now, I'm lifting really, really heavy. So I utilize a morning, you know, fasted cardio on my spin bike as a recovery cardio. That's there to help increase blood flow, help improve blood flow in my lower body because I'm pushing a really heavy load right now. So when it comes in terms of your cardio, you want to make sure that your cardio is helping to aid your improvement and helping to aid in your recovery. If you're too tired for cardio, then you may want to pull back on it. If you're too tired for sprints, you may want to go into more of a low, steady state, intermediate recovery style of cardio. So, you know, it really just is independent of the person and what they're going through at that time. I feel like this video is going to be a little long, just covering my personal questions and my training questions. So I'm going to save competing and nutrition for the next vlog. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this crazy background footage of this leg training day. But if you enjoyed this quick Q&A on my personal life and my training, please give me a thumbs up. Please comment below if you have any other questions regarding training and my personal life. I would be happy to answer them through there. And stay tuned for my next Q&A that's going to cover nutrition and competing. And we'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.